Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. This is the first video in the new greenhouse. Or the first real video anyways, it's not just sort of an update. Today we are going to be repotting a spider orchid, or a Brassia orchid as they're called. They're in the Oncidium family, and they like full sun or close to it. I treat them more like a Cattleya than I do an Oncidium. They just are sun worshippers, so I really try to give them as much as they can possibly get. This one I've had for a while. It's always been a spotty plant. I don't know why the leaves just spot. That's a whole other video though, and not for today. So basically I potted this in this basket a few years back, and it's never really done good since it's been in there. I found, being it's sort of a black net pot, it's been really hard to keep moist, and I'm finding that, you know, the pseudobulbs, which were once plump, are kind of wrinkled. It didn't bloom for me this year, which is kind of upsetting. That could be due to the old greenhouse. There just wasn't enough space. It wasn't getting enough light. So hopefully this will be a better year for it. But I thought I might as well give it a fresh start. It was in one of the hanging pots sort of that I made to save space for when it was in the old greenhouse. I'm just going to remove that. It's no longer going to hang. I'm going to put it into a 5-inch pot, so I'm actually going down in pot size a little bit as well. But before we do that, while we're talking, I need to make some sphagnum moss. So this I just get at my local nursery, and it comes in a compressed brick. I don't know if you've seen this. I do have a video where I show you guys this stuff in detail. And I'm just going to throw this in the water here behind. That's a horrible noise, I'm sure it will be on camera. I'm just going to throw it in the water there to rehydrate while we talk. Yeah, what else? This is my mix that I'm going to be using. I'm going to throw a bit of sphagnum moss in this mix as well. This is a medium pine bark, fir bark. Pine is actually toxic, so don't use pine. It's a medium fir bark, fine fir bark, and a perlite mix. And I'm going to add about 15 to 25% sphagnum moss in there as well. I'm just going to chop it up a little bit. I want to retain a lot more moisture than I had in this basket. This was about the same sort of mixture, but it just was too airy to keep. It needed constant water. In the summertime, every single day it needed to be watered, and I needed something that was a little bit more or less maintenance than that. So why don't we bring you down? We will get closer to the table and we will get repotting this guy. Okay, so we need to get started on this. It is early morning. It's about 8:30. The sun's just about to hit the greenhouse. It's getting brighter by the minute, and I want to make sure this is done while the light is good, and right now the light is great. So here's the tag: Brassia daticosa and Coosbay. So this is a species orchid. It's one of the spidery types. I do have a video on this guy if you wanted to search back. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description too, and then you can see what this guy looks like in video. I love spider orchids. They're great. They have big yellow pointy looking flowers. This one, the flowers are about 8 to 12 inches from tip to tip. There we go. So I'll just cut off the old wiring. And being we're working on a tiny table, I'm just going to move stuff off camera while we're not using it. Let's dump this guy out. I don't anticipate much in the way of trouble here. Just give it a good squish and it should come right out. The bark shouldn't be that bad of shape. It wasn't that old, as I say, a couple of years. I guess it was time to be repotted anyways, but it was so airy it didn't have a chance to really break down much. And we just want to gently knead this. I did put more moss in there than I thought I did. Still didn't stay very dry or very wet for very long though. It is wet right now, or moist. I watered it yesterday. That way it's easy to sort of knead the old bark out of the roots. Some of these roots will be a few years old and they're no longer functioning properly. That's okay. We'll assess what roots need to go and what roots don't need to go after. This thing has a natural division in it if I did want to make two right there. It sort of goes this way and that way. That would be a good spot to give it a cut and then have two orchids. But I'd rather have a big showy specimen than a bunch of little guys running around. So we have two new growth points on it. So again, it's a good time to do this before they start growing roots, because this is going to be the future roots of the whole plant. It's not so important what the back ones look like, it's important what these front ones are doing. So if I waited a few more months and the roots were nice and fresh and 3 inches long each, and I tried to repot it, there's a good chance I'm going to break a lot of them. And then that's really going to slow down the plant for that year, because its main root system is going to be all broken up and it's going to have to recover from that instead. So I really don't see much in the way of rotten roots. They look decent. You can definitely tell some of them are older, but so that's what it looks like. Hopefully I can get it in a 5-inch pot. We're sure going to try. Okay, so that's about as good as I need to get it. If you miss a little bit of bark, that's okay. It's better to miss a little bit of bark than continue to torment the plant. So, not a bad root system. There's a couple dead roots you can trim off. Just like so. You can feel if they're dead because they're papery. Not necessarily the color, but that one is dead too. And they'll slide right off the little core. But nothing too bad. So anyways, now I will bring up the other potting mix and we'll try to fit this guy in a pot. Okay, so there we go. And here's the pot. I have a dry mix here. The moss is going to be the only thing moist in it to start with. I just want to make sure it's going to fit. And the best thing to do is just sort of put the roots in, and they naturally twist anyways. You can see that they're twisting. So we're just going to twist it around like so. And just like that. Well, it's definitely a big plant. Definitely big. I think I'm going to see if there's a different kind of pot. Hold on. Okay, well, I couldn't find a different pot, so I think this video is going to take another twist. I am still going to pot it in the 5-inch pot, but I am going to divide this Brassia orchid right in front of you right now on the fly. I have a friend that is looking for a Brassia, so he might just end up with one here. And as I say, there's a natural division in it anyways right here. At one point, this bulb decided to grow 2 shoots, so it sort of started running in 2 directions, and it just got a little bit too big. So, with a sterilized pair of scissors, which I just sterilize these with rubbing alcohol, I am just going to cut right through where it naturally divides anyways. This is going to be a super easy division to make. So you can see the spot right there. And it almost just wants to snap on its own right there, but I'm just going to give it a bit of help just so I have a bit more control over it. And give it a good cut. There we are. Separate the roots. They're going to be all tangled up. As I say, these are older roots, so they're not super important to the health of the plant, as long as you have the new growth on there. But we'll be as gentle as we can at kneading these guys apart. This is just, we might as well call this just a video on spider orchid roots. That's all you guys have seen so far. And we'll divide this up. Now, There we go. Come on, almost there. This last little bit down here, it's like tangled hair. But for the most part, they're nice moist roots. So there we go. We have a division with 4 bulbs in a new growth, and a division with 2, 4, 6 bulbs in a new growth. So we had 10 bulbs on there altogether, and then 2 new growths, so that would have made 12 bulbs on there. So it was a good size for dividing anyways. And I think what I'm going to do is set the big guy aside. And this guy right here is going to be what I'm going to keep in this little pot. So I got a bit of old media in with the new stuff, but that won't hurt much. How was that for a twist in the video? I didn't see that one coming at all. Now, let's see if I can show you this. The moss is nicely hydrated now. So what I'm going to do is just squeeze some of the excess water out of it, like so. And then, with my first pair of scissors, I'm just going to chop it up so it falls into the mix. And that's, I'll just mix it in sort of to the one corner of my mix there that I have. And that's going to just maintain some humidity. So depending on the pot you use or where you live, if you're down like in Southern California where it's really dry, you may want to add some more moss to the mix just to save you some time in that. Always watering and always trying to keep it a little bit moister. If you live in a really hot, humid place, you may want to use less or maybe no moss whatsoever. And that looks like a good amount. So, put you back down there. And let's break this up a little bit because it's still tight. I didn't really pull it apart first, so it'll still fluff up really nicely in there. And we'll make the mix just look like that. So we have perlite, bark, 2 sizes, and some moss in there. Now, I like to keep my mix dry until I get everything together, and I'll show you why in a second. So we're going to put the plant in there. That's going to fit a whole lot easier. And from there, with the mix dry, I can just sort of feed it right in, and it falls in between all the roots. So you can make sure you get it all in there. So this is a 5-inch clear pot. I like the clear pots because you can see what the roots are doing. You want to try to set it so that the new growth is in the middle of the pot, so that I can get another year or 2 out of this as it moves forward before it hangs over the edge. And you can pack it a little bit tighter in there, just with your fingers, and then it really will settle into place the first time you water it. And you may want to actually add a little bit more media after that. So that looks like it's pretty good there. So that looks great. Perfect in the pot. I like. And hopefully with some fresh media and keeping it a little bit moister in a sunnier greenhouse than it's ever had before, this guy is going to grow a brand new pseudobulb here up to full size, and then in the fall or in the winter it's going to spike for me, and I'm going to get some nice blooms next spring. So we'll set that guy on the side. Now we have this guy here, so that is a good division. And Bill, you just got yourself a Brassia Orchid. So anyways guys, I hope you like this video. The joys of not scripting any videos. It went from a simple repotting to a total division. But anyways, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. As always, thanks for watching.